This is Monkey World, the largest ape and monkey rescue centre on the planet. With every animal comes a story. Some funny, some shocking. Dramas great and small. Today on Monkey Life, we find out if chimpanzee Jolene recovers from her mystery illness. And we catch up with chimp babies Ash and Rodders.
They're big enough and independent enough and weaned enough that they could move into the main group today.
Monkey World cares for 160 primates. Each one has a unique range of behaviours and characteristics. Recently, primate care staff noticed a change in 17-year-old chimpanzee Freddy. He wasn't being his usual boisterous self.
You know, why is he looking sick? Why is his personality changed? Why isn't he diving into the group like he usually does? He's a pain in the neck, Freddie, right? If there's a fight, the boy's in, you know? And when you see the wild child, the reckless child, the one who always dives in where he shouldn't be, you know, when you see that dramatically change, any mom will see that and say, so something's going on here.
The staff thinks there might be a problem with Freddy's bowels. It could be something as simple as piles, or something much more sinister. The team aren't taking any chances, and this morning wildlife vet John Lewis prepares for a full internal investigation.
Now and again he bleeds from his rear end. And last time I was down here, we had a good look in the last part of the gut, which is as far as I can go with the instruments that I've had. And I'm not an expert in the interiors of chimps by any means at all, and we couldn't see anything at all. This time, we're bringing in a specialist, a human specialist actually, whose speciality is looking at the inside of the last part of the gut. It could be a minor ulcer in there, which is a relatively trivial affair. It might even be a cancer, a tumour. So you've got anything between those two things.
To give the team more room, today's procedure will be carried out in one of the chimp pavilions, which has been sterilised.
Basically, they're going to take a camera and look up inside Freddie and see if they can find something nasty. You know, we really hope not, because this is Freddie's life at stake.
Freddy was rescued 12 years ago from Austria, where he was found wandering alone in a park. He was probably an unwanted pet, which meant he didn't understand chimp behaviour when he first arrived at Monkey World. But careful rehabilitation and lots of attention from the other chimps has transformed him into a popular member of the boisterous bachelor boys. Freddy is fully sedated during the investigation, in which Dr. Nick Scherer will use a flexible fibre optic camera to examine Freddy's intestines.
And head towards me, long way towards me, please, at the moment.
Chimp intestines are 27 foot long. Dr. Scherer will push the camera along part of the gut to look for any abnormality that might explain Freddy's symptoms.
You can see the scope has got a variety of controls, so I can move it left, right, up and down. Yeah, it's got a little wash button, so I can sort of wash any debris off. Yeah, and hopefully, by looking through this, we'll be able to manipulate it all the way around Freddy's bowel, and hopefully see if there is any cause of his bleeding. Okay.
Pretty much when a human doctor gets inside a chimp, he feels comfortable. And so, you know, the anatomy of a chimp is close. It's a little different. So John's there with his knowledge of chimp anatomy. You've got Nick Scherer there with his expert knowledge of human anatomy, and you put those people together, and you're hoping for a good outcome for Freddie, hoping that we get lucky, that all is well.
It's a hot day, and in Paddy's chimp enclosure, head keeper Lee has a special treat. The chimp version of an ice lolly. Frozen fruit, the perfect way for them to cool down. The fruit is placed in the pond and hidden between the rocks. This makes the chimps work harder for their reward. Although this enclosure covers 2 acres, it doesn't take long for Gamba to guide the group over to the fruit stash. The chimps always shout about something new, especially if it's food. Alpha male Paddy immediately leaps in to take control. But low-ranking Mickey sneaks in behind and grabs as much as he can hold. The smallest member of the clan, Eddie, isn't keen getting wet. For once, she's happy to watch and learn how it's done. 26-year-old Kathy is much bolder and heads straight in. Chimpanzees' arms are longer than their legs, so they can reach out to fruits growing on branches. It also means they can stretch right out into the pond. Paddy's not worried about the water either and takes what he wants. He knows he's going to be popular with anyone who doesn't want to get wet, so he's off to find himself a hiding place. High-ranking Beth has also grabbed a melon, but she hasn't got into a hiding place fast enough. And in hot pursuit are Buster, Clin, and Eddie. But Beth isn't feeling generous, and the harder they try, the more Beth ignores them. Across the enclosure, even alpha male Paddy is having problems. But luckily for him, only one chimp is brave enough to try and take some of the treat. Second in command, Jimmy. Beth's following has grown from 3 to 5, but she's a high-ranking female, so it will take more than a few eager subordinates to make her give up her prize. But persistent Eddie pushes her baby status privileges and luck to the limit, and it finally pays off. Eddie's chances of keeping the prize treat are slim with cheeky Buster around, and no sooner does she have it, it's gone.
Happy with the patient up your end?
He's absolutely fine, yeah.
Chimpanzee Freddy has been under anaesthetic for 15 minutes. Specialist Dr. Scherer is carrying out his bowel investigation.
Try just a bit more suction.
Right.
Please.
He's just let go.
Yeah, keep going. That's lovely. Yeah, no, that's lovely. I can see it all whizzing up the tube. Yeah.
You don't get out much.
I don't get out much. Yeah. I'm afraid for anybody other than the operator, it's like watching paint dry.
The camera is now part way through Freddy's bowel, but so far Dr. Scherer hasn't found any blockages, bleeding or signs of a tumour.
So, yeah.
And there's a problem. The deeper the camera travels into Freddy's bowel, the harder it becomes to control the device at the end of the flexible tube.
Essentially, this is like trying to stand at one end of your garden and push the garden hose in a straight line to the other end of the garden. And of course, by the time it gets halfway, it starts curling and kinking in the middle. Yeah, and the more you push, all you get is curling and curling and curling. And you have to try and keep straightening it out to get the loops out to get it advancing further. How much trouble do you think it would be to turn Freddy on his back?
None at all.
Excellent, let's do that then. Yeah, it might just help the bowel to flop into a better position to allow us to go around.
Now Freddy is on his back, Dr. Scherer is able to make good progress through the intestine. Eventually, he completes his examination, and to everyone's relief, he hasn't spotted anything sinister.
We've examined the left side of Freddy's bowel completely, which is entirely normal. And indeed, if a human were complaining of bright red rectal bleeding, that would be the investigation we would choose to do.
But from what you see, what are you
what
thinking?
I can see is absolutely looks normal. Yeah, there's no sign of any blood coming from any higher up. We can certainly take a couple of biopsies from the bowel.
It may be good news, but it doesn't explain why Freddy's bleeding. So Dr. Scherer decides to take a biopsy. A small cutting device is inserted along the tube to remove a piece of Freddy's intestine. It'll be sent off for further medical tests. But then, as he is removing the camera, he thinks he's finally found the cause of the problem. And luckily for Freddy, as everyone hoped, there's a simple explanation.
I'm just saying that at the anal canal, there's sort of protuberances that would essentially be small hemorrhoids, so small piles. That could easily be the cause of some bleeding.
Chimps are susceptible to most of the same ailments that affect humans. So for Jim, finding out that Freddy just has piles is a relief.
But it's not drastic or terminal. And that was our big scare, wasn't it? I mean, you always worry, but it's not. So I'm pleased. Alison will be really pleased. Let's watch and let's see. But it is possible that, he could have gotten a habit and maybe he's worrying it. And if he's doing that, we can do things. And it really, we'll have to do some basics, stay in touch with John, stay in touch with Nick, and just go from there.
When he recovers from his anesthetic, Freddy will rejoin his friends in the bachelor group. His condition might not be serious, but let's hope they won't be too rough with him for a little while. At Monkey World, in Hernanya's chimpanzee group, there is sad news. 10-year-old Jolene has died. She'd been in decline for weeks.
In the end, what finally got Jolene was kidney failure. On her last check that the vets did when they had her under anesthetic, they ran some bloods directly off to the lab and they came back that she had no kidney function. And that's actually quite a nasty, painful thing to encounter. So at that point in time, it was decided really that there was nothing more that can be done for her, and rather than let her continue on and suffer a few more days, the decision was made to actually put Jolene to sleep.
It was very difficult for all of the primate care staff.
Keeping her alive for an extra couple of days, she would have been in terrible pain and upset and wouldn't have been able to move around as she wanted to. So, yeah, the decision was made for her, and we sadly had to end her life.
Jolene's illness was a mystery from the start. For several weeks, she'd had a strange collection of symptoms such as baldness, swelling and stiff joints. But a full range of medical tests and an exploratory operation showed nothing conclusive.
Sometimes in these situations, miracles happen, and that's what we're after. There's nothing else to explain the clinical signs we've had.
Did you see them both?
Chimpanzees are one of the best animals at hiding if they're in pain. It's a defense mechanism.
By the time you start noticing, say, Jolene taking weak or stiff steps kind of thing, she's probably in an awful lot of pain at that point in time. And all you have to go on are all of these faint signs of illness that they're always trying to mask. So it isn't very easy to necessarily figure out what is happening with them. And Jolene's case was just that. She was a little bit of a mystery from beginning to end.
Jolene was rescued from a laboratory in Holland 7 years ago. She was never experimented on, but the park often finds that living in an unnatural environment like a lab can cause physical problems later on.
We don't actually know why Jolene's immune system wasn't capable of dealing with it. I mean, whether it has something to do with her background or not. All of the other 3 laboratory chimps are fit and healthy. And I guess that's what we have to stick with now and try and remember, is that even when you have a tragic, just devastating death like this, that you've got everybody else who still needs you. And so you look to all of the others and you try and make sure that you do what's right for them, and that you come in the next day ready to go and ready to do the right thing for those that are left behind, because it's a new day.
This afternoon, there's some long-awaited progress in the Nursery chimp group. Youngsters Ben and Pip are finally playing outside. Although Ben has always been quite confident, he normally sticks by cautious Pip. But today, Ben has left Pip's side to explore his surroundings alone. The park has been waiting for this moment for a long time, so it's fantastic to see. Pip follows Ben's lead and decides it's time she explored the outside world on her own. It's a huge development for a nervous chimp. 6 years ago, both chimps were rejected by their mums, so they had to be hand-reared.
tell him. Yeah, see him off. Right.
After 18 months, they successfully moved into the chimp nursery with foster mum Sally.
And this is going well.
But the trouble with this pair was the bigger they grew, the more they became afraid of the outside world.
They just don't seem bothered. By now, everybody else would have just strolled out, so I don't know what these guys' problem is.
But now, as Ben's confidence grows, he's found the perfect playmate, 8-year-old Seamus. Seamus loves messing around and tons of rough and tumble. But sadly, Seamus isn't really the best role model. He might be a lovable hooligan, but he's very spoiled by Sally. He's allowed to get away with everything. And although everyone is very pleased at Ben's newfound confidence, they do hope spending so much time with Seamus won't turn Ben into a naughty chimp too. In the boisterous bachelor group enclosure, there's concern for one of the park's most lovable characters, Charlie. He is 22 years old, but looks a lot older. This is because of the physical abuse he suffered as a beach photographer's prop in Spain. Charlie has always been popular with the boisterous group of 13. An alpha male Butch is often by his side keeping an eye on him. It's common to see Charlie being groomed by his fellow bachelors, and apart from his love of food, there's nothing he enjoys more. But now the park is worried that the 22-year-old is not being as well looked after. In fact, today, he's struggling to get his hands on his favourite treat. Charlie is usually first in there with a mammoth helping, but it seems that he's having trouble getting just one piece. And even newcomer Gypsy has managed to get his hands on some of the tasty corn. More worrying for Charlie is the fact that his usual protector, Butch, is being very rough with him. Luckily, high-ranking male Jester is on hand to help Charlie. Butch does have a hot temper, and it's hard to tell if Charlie was just in the way or if the alpha male specifically targeted him. It's good news that Charlie has others around who can defend him, and the usually feisty Jester is even happy to share a small piece of corn with him. But the primate care staff will have to make sure that poor Charlie doesn't get picked on too often at mealtimes. Back over in the chimp nursery, new babies are usually cared for by foster mum Sally. But today, animal manager Jeremy is about to introduce Ash and Rodders to the other adult female in this group, Lulu.
Come on. Come on. Who's this? Who have we got here? You want that one? Oops, no. Sorry, that was my fault.
This little male and female are the youngest chimps in the park. They hadn't moved to the nursery yet. Meeting one of their potential foster mums is the first stage.
Rodders and Ash are about 1.25 years now, and I want this to move quite quickly, though really it's up to them as to how quickly. This will be sort of pushed along, but you mustn't push it too fast, otherwise it'll just go backwards. And simple as that. They're big enough and independent enough and weaned enough that they could move into the main group today. But obviously it'll take it'll be a while. I don't know how long, when we're good and ready.
Both Ash and Rodders were rejected by their mums. The park decided to hand rear them together so they could get used to being with other chimps from birth. It should make it much easier for them to settle into the chimp nursery. Unlike Ben and Pip, these two love playing outdoors. Every day they develop their muscles and coordination on their very own climbing frame.
Whimper, whimper.
Lulu was rescued from Cyprus 6 years ago when a family saved her from a circus. Her mother had bitten her right arm, it became infected and had to be amputated. Lulu has no problems living life with just one arm and is now just as responsible for bringing up the babies as foster mum Sally. And one day, she might even take over. Chimp meetings can be noisy, but Lulu is very calm and tries to make the babies as comfortable as possible. She makes submissive gestures such as crouching and offering out her hand and feet. Rodders and Ash are both quite nervous of Lulu, sticking close to Jeremy. But every now and again, when they realise there's nothing to be scared of, they do let go a bit.
I think the next thing to do is to introduce more people, get them all, you know, I'll probably bring them in with maybe everybody or certainly more individuals, and then, you know, let them take over and I can fade away. You know, next time Ash comes off me, I might stand up and see what happens. You know, they're obviously playing reasonably well. Oh, really independent, yeah. I was just cracking you up to be really independent and terrific and good. You're going to pull that.
This meeting has gone well, but it looks like Ash and Rodders might need Jeremy's support for a little while longer. Next time, the park is hit by some devastating and unexpected news. This is Monkey World, the largest ape and monkey rescue centre on the planet. With every animal comes a story. Some funny, some shocking. Dramas great and small. Today on Monkey Life, Jim checks up on chimpanzee Charlie. He's getting picked on at mealtimes.
He really doesn't have it in him to be a tough guy. He doesn't like to fight, he doesn't like violence, and he really can't compete in this.
And nerves start to show when Mexican chimp Bryan meets foster mum Sally. Rescuing primates is a crucial part of Monkey World's work. So far, the park has rescued 118 primates with the help of 15 governments around the world. This year, they broke new territory. They rescued Bryan, their first chimp from Mexico. And this morning, something important is about to happen. He's met some of the primate care staff.
Hello.
But now, he's going to meet his first chimp. His new foster mum, Sally, from the nursery group. The team are relying on Sally's perfect chimp skills to make the introduction go smoothly.
Sally's the chosen one in the park. Sally's who we introduce every baby chimp to. It's from Sally that they learn about chimpanzee social structure, hierarchy, how to behave, what to expect. Sally's his best chance of one day growing up and being into a group just like all the others have.
Bryan had a terrible start in life. He was being used as a beach photographer's prop in Mexico. His owner knocked most of his teeth out so he wouldn't bite the tourists that he was forced to pose with.
Hey. Come on.
But he had a lucky escape.
You watch? No,
Because he was so young,
no.
the Mexican authorities confiscated him, and he spent a year being very well looked after at the Escaret Eco Park. But because they only care for native species, Monkey World were asked to take him so he could grow up with his own kind. Jim and Alison are now keen for Bryan and Sally to meet. And although Sally's very experienced with young chimps, animal manager Jeremy is on hand to support Bryan.
Yes, let's go. Jeremy?
Yeah, he's good, he's good.
With everything in place, Sally can make her entrance. As she approaches Bryan, he's understandably nervous.
Oh, good girl, son. Good girl. Good girl. Where's he gone? I can't see him. Hey, look, I'm a maypole all of a sudden. Yeah. No, that's not a good idea.
No one knows if he's ever even met an adult chimp. But when youngsters are nervous, Sally knows exactly what to do. Hang back and give them space.
She's okay. She's okay. That's Sal. Yeah, you're with me, okay? You're with me, and that's Sal. That's okay. We're all together. Good girl, so I've got to bring him a banana.
Her slow, careful movements help Bryan realise she isn't actually a threat.
Okay. I think he's warming to you, Sal, because you're so good at this, aren't you? You're so good. Oh, here we go. Oh, good girl.
Good girl.
Within minutes, Sally has worked her magic. The younger the chimps arrive at the park, the easier it is to integrate them. Bryan is only 3 years old, so it gives him a big advantage.
Within 5 minutes, he did what we've seen many times. The light switch went on, and all of a sudden he remembered who he is, he remembered what he was supposed to do, and before you know it, from screaming, he was in there, and he was getting a really big hug from Sally, so just incredible, just amazing.
Sally's next tactic is to try and put Bryan at ease by grooming him. In the wild, chimps live in social groups, and grooming is probably their most important social behaviour. It maintains or improves friendships and calms nervous or tense individuals.
Gonna come and join our party? Join our gang? Well, it didn't last long, did it, Sal?
But Bryan's had little or no experience of being a chimp, so he just wants to do the fun stuff, like play.
He likes being tickled. He does like that. The grooming's not so popular. Tickle him.
She's trying to teach him how to groom, but as always, Sally's not going to push it too far. She's absolutely brilliant.
Sally has once again proved that she's the perfect foster mum. Now she's earned Bryan's trust, they will spend the night together. Alison has been waiting for this amazing moment for a very long time.
I just can't even believe it after more than a year of sort of paperwork and people talking about him and all of the reasons why he couldn't come. It seems hard to believe that he is finally here. And really nice. So first thing I'm going to do is try and get some photos done and send them back to Mexico so that everybody who worked so hard getting him here on that end can see that he's here and he's about to have a whole family of his own.
In Paddy's chimp group, the 21 members are a relaxed lot. This is because their alpha male has fantastic leadership skills. In the wild, it's the boss's job to protect their community and territory from other chimps. They also have to keep their own troop in order. They do this with a strict hierarchy. The female chimps have a pecking order as well. It can shift when the younger females grow up and try to compete with the higher-ranking girls. Today, that's just what seems to be happening between old girl Zoe and low-ranking Lola. A scuffle has broken out. It's unusual to see Zoe backing down, and it's a brave move by Lola, as she is one of the lowest-ranking members of the troop. She's taking a risk and putting herself in a dangerous situation. Zoe may be getting old, but she is still a high-ranking individual with many allies. And it doesn't take long for second-in-command Jimmy to step in and put Lola in her place. While Zoe tries to hold on to her position in the group, the youngest chimp member, Eddie, is beginning to find her place within the strict hierarchy. 5-year-old was born at the park, and she's the only chimp to be successfully raised by her group from birth. It's given her a fantastic start in life. Through every developmental stage, her mum Susie and her extended family have been there to teach her how to be a good chimp. And as she grows, the more her chimp politics skills develop. Today, she wants to show her dad, Paddy, she's beginning to understand her place. Submitting to him shows respect and trust. Paddy has always doted on his little girl, which has given her a lot of confidence. She is totally at ease with all of the group and wise enough to know that there are some chimps you must be respectful to, like Paddy, and some you can stand up to, like cheeky Gamba. It seems she has the boys just where she wants them. But finding her place with the ladies may not be quite as straightforward. Baby orangutan Dinda is now 3 months old. She's the park's 4th orangutan birth. And keeper Mike has been hand-rearing her. Orangutans spend most of their lives living high up in the trees, so learning to hang on tight, even when their mums are carrying them, is a vital skill. When an orang is hand-reared, it's crucial that their muscle tone and coordination are developed. So Mike's devised an intriguing garment to help Dinda develop her gripping skills.
Alison actually had a really good idea about making a sort of tabard out of all these dog toys. So I've just got the last one just to attach at the bottom here. And believe it or not, you can actually put your head in and wear it. And then the idea is that when we take Dinda out, she actually hangs on to us rather than us carry her around. And hopefully she'll start to hang on to all the toys with her hands and her feet and encourage her to sort of get a bit of muscle. She's struggling now to sort of sit herself up. She can sit herself up. She hasn't climbed any higher than there. But hopefully this is actually going to encourage her to do those sort of things. I just hope she appreciates it. After me spending all day trying to work out the best way to connect everything. How about that then, Dinda? You thrilled to bits about that? Right, so here we go. I was always good at making fancy dress costumes. That's the idea. So let's see if she appreciates it. Hey, look at this. Are you going to come to me? You're a little bit stuck now, aren't you? Yeah, that's a bit scary, isn't it? What about this? Let's close your little door. This is an orangutan gymnasium, but a portable one, a walking one. You hold on to that. Yeah, you do. Go on. That one is going to have to get used to hanging on to something as well. Hold on to that. Good girl. There, that's got that one on. And you've got another foot here. Mostly orangutans have 2 feet. You hold on to there with that one. Good girl. And don't slip down. There you are.
The reason Mike decided to develop this contraption is because hand-reared babies can be a bit lazy. Dinda knows if she were to fall, Mike would catch her. But if she was living with Mum and didn't hold on tightly, it could prove fatal.
Obviously, I'd be a little bit careful to start off with until she's really got used to the idea of doing it. But I used to go for a walk into the woods with her, and I used to make her hold on to my sweater because, you know, she has to learn how to hold on rather than carry her around. And usually by the time I'd walked for about, 10 minutes, she was down by my knees, when she actually got further and further down. So hopefully this will be easier for her to hold on to.
So all that's left to find out is if Mike's hard labour has been worth it.
You holding on all right? Well done. It's a good girl, Dinda.
At Monkey World Rescue Centre, in the Bachelor Group, one of the most lovable characters, chimpanzee Charlie, is being picked on at mealtimes. As it's the park's mission to ensure that all the primates are happy, Jim's come to see Charlie's situation for himself.
Staff have been telling me that Charlie's having to work a little bit harder for his food. He really doesn't have it in him to be a tough guy. He doesn't like to fight, he doesn't like violence, and he really can't compete in there. So what's been happening is that, when they've been feeding them, Charlie's going around asking for food, and he's, would you please, could you give me some? And he's doing all of that, and sometimes they'll share, but most of the times they don't. So I thought I'd come up, see for myself. I mean, he's had a tough time, Charlie. He doesn't have a lot going for him. I can see the poor boy waiting over there. I see you. He's sticking his tongue out.
Although you're not supposed to have favourites, Charlie was one of Jim's first rescues, so he has a soft spot for him. And sadly, when the food's dished out, alpha male Butch does indeed go for Charlie. Chimp life is a volatile one, and mealtimes seem to bring out the worst in everyone. Charlie's pal Paquito is also having problems landing a treat.
Get it, run.
This is because he's at the bottom of the pecking order, so he has to wait. He tries to sneak off inside, but is spotted by Butch. Intimidated, Paquito drops his corn, feeling sorry for him.
Come on.
Jim tries again.
Come on then. Come on.
Even with Jim's help, it seems low-ranking Paquito is going to have to give up for now. This may seem unfair for Paquito, but it's a natural part of chimp life. And at least he isn't being physically picked on at mealtimes, like Charlie.
Yeah, he got hassled from everybody. He got really nervous and kept looking around for his opening, So I thought, if I can keep Butch happy, give him some, and just keep getting him towards Charlie at the same time, keep getting some to him, that sooner or later he's gonna sneak in, he's gonna grab a couple. So he did, he didn't let me down, it was great. Charlie's doing the best he can because he's got no weaponry, he's got no way to fight, so he's just gotta try to be a nice guy. He really is overall pretty happy here, he's very happy here.
At last, Charlie has managed to get some corn. He's holding out his hand to Jester to show he's submissive. So hopefully he'll be allowed to keep hold of the treat. And as alpha male Butch is out of sight, Charlie may even be able to relax.
I don't think you'd ever call Butch steadfast. I mean, he's the archetypal fair weather friend. He loves Charlie in his own way, but he just loses it so completely. And Charlie never did like to fight, never did like confrontation, and it's why you gotta love him. He is an innocent, if you like, in this big bad boy's world. You see Butch rough him up sometimes, and it kind of grabs you, kind of breaks your heart a little bit because he just doesn't deserve it. He's on close monitoring, Charlie. Charlie's on close monitoring every day of his life by everybody in this park. And I think everybody loves him so much that you just gotta put that little bit of extra effort in, That's what we've gotta do now. We've gotta make sure that Charlie's okay. I don't know how long Charlie's gonna be with us. He just looks and acts like an old man, but you can't tell. He could be here for a long time, maybe not. But for as long as he's here, let's make it a little bit special for him.
And for 365 days a year, making all the primates' lives special is exactly what Jim and his dedicated team do. But the park was hit by some devastating news. A shock that no one could ever have imagined. A disaster that left everybody heartbroken.
Jim Cronin, who founded the Monkey World Ape Rescue Centre in Dorset, has died.
World-renowned conservationist, entrepreneur, larger-than-life character, Jim Cronin. Exactly 20 years ago, he founded Monkey World in rural Dorset. Jim and his wife Alison were tireless campaigners in the battle against the illegal trade in apes, as well as cases of abuse. A battle he vowed would continue. He passed away in a New York clinic after a short battle against cancer.
It's a bit daunting right now. It hasn't been long since Jim passed away. So everything's very raw right now for me. Jeremy's been a rock for me, and I know that his heart is broken as well, but now it's sort of, I suppose you can look at it in a different way. The animals are now giving back to sort of Jeremy and I, sort of what we need in terms of keeping focused, keeping Jim's passion alive. And we're going to do that.
Jim's passion became our passion, and I'm really honoured to be in that position. Chase dreams. This was Jim's dream, and it's reality. It's not impossible.
Jim wanted to create a safe haven for rescued primates. But 20 years ago, this thriving 65-acre sanctuary housing over 160 primates was a very different place. There were just 9 chimpanzees. Jim took a long lease out on land that was nothing more than a derelict pig farm.
I think everybody throughout the county of Dorset just thought, you know, he was a bit of a crazy American who was going to start this small little monkey park, and he and his monkeys would sort of live out in the woods. He knew that it was possible to build a place that people would embrace and that people would understand why it was so important.
Come on in.
Jim's mission to rescue primates began during the 1980s. There were reports of chimpanzees being used in the tourist industry in Spain. It was something Jim was passionate about.
We are saying to the people in this county and to the British public, you want to see us rescue them, be part of that, and see a rescue operation take place. You adopt a chimp here and save a chimp who is dying in Spain.
You know, Jim and Jeremy came down with a vision and a dream, and actually Amy was with them at that point in time too. It was the 3 of them, Jim, Jeremy, and Amy. And they got started on building what has turned into a huge park now, rescuing species from around the world.
Building up this sanctuary took enormous amounts of hard work, but Jim never gave up and battled to save many of the monkeys and apes that were being horrifically abused.
When they weren't beating them to keep them calm and sedate so they'd pose for the tourists, they were chucking them in small boxes and giving them virtually nothing to eat, as little as possible, just enough to keep them going.
Sure enough, Jim stuck with the mission. At that point in time, he had told the Spanish government that if they enforced the international wildlife laws that protect chimpanzees, that he would come over and he would rehome every single chimpanzee that they confiscated.
And Jim did just that. 4 years ago, Alberto, the last Spanish beach photographer's prop, made it to Monkey World. And in the last 20 years, Jim, Alison, and their team of primate care staff have been on 61 rescue missions in 15 different countries. 43 babies have been born to 10 different species, including some of the rarest primates on the planet. To date, 118 apes and monkeys have been rescued. They have a second chance of a life with their own kind, and it's all down to the passion and determination of Jim Cronin and his team at Monkey World.
He was a great pragmatist, believe it or not, and sort of knew that if he could get the message across to people, that people would feel the same way he did about it. And, you know, there wasn't anybody greater at that. If you came to the park and saw him, he was just always overflowing with enthusiasm. And that's what's so hard. That's what's so hard to take about all of this, is that he had so much life and passion and wanted to share that with everybody. And it's just hard to believe that that's gone. But I guess I'd like to think that anybody who comes to the park now can still see that and can still feel that and still feel that drive. And we're going to carry on. That's what Jim would have wanted, is for everybody to carry on and to keep the message going. And in the last weeks of his life, he made me promise that I would do just that. And I'll try and muster the same sort of force that Jim did. And we'll be good. We'll be good.